Hello, everyone. I'm Ariana. This is my husband, Mike.
Hello.
And we, a year after our birth, finally feel like we're ready to share with you. I think I did this with the boys' birth too, the birth of our twins. I didn't really share their birth story until just a little bit before their birthday too. Not by choice, but just really because it's just like sometimes hard to talk about it. Even if it's not traumatic or if nothing went wrong, it's just first finding the time. But also I think birth is such like a vulnerable thing to go through and such a special thing to go to, and so sometimes it's hard to talk about, I think.
Yeah, and conveying it the whole time. And there's a lot. There was a lot that happened.
A lot. Yeah. So here we go. So I feel like we'll start maybe with from the day before, because that's kind of when it all started.
Yep.
I think my whole birth, I measured big, I measured ahead. And so people always thought like, oh, you're going to go early. The midwives had always said to me, you're going to go early, you're going to go early. So in my mind, I just like had this 37 week mark in my mind. And so those last 3 weeks were grueling. They were so hard. Every day we woke up and we were like, today's going to be the day. And then it wasn't. So I think that's like the most mentally and physically exhausting and draining time ever as a woman.
For sure. And we had two little twins running around the house.
Yeah.
And we were going through their first year in Montessori school.
Mm-hmm.
And that fall season, they were sick, sniffles, everything. So it was a pretty challenging time.
A lot of transitions and a lot of change, which made it difficult for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
But also exciting. We were so excited. And so you can check out on my website, but I have a blog post about the boy's birth, and it was quite traumatic. So if you haven't followed along, we gave birth to twins at 33 weeks, 5 days. And so we spent a full month in NICU in between two hospitals during the pandemic. It was just wild. And so I just knew that I was not comfortable in the hospital or near the hospital. Nothing. Every time I drove past the hospital, I would like be short of breath, and it was just not a comfortable place to be. I had gone to therapy to work through those feelings, but I still felt just uneasy about being there. And so I decided that I wanted to pursue a home birth. It was something that we chatted about quite a lot and that Mike wasn't really super on board for.
It was tough coming from more of a science background and a science family. The idea of having a kid at home and the possible what ifs,
Yeah.
what if could happen. We're not really prepared for it at home or in a position to react to the what ifs. But yeah, just sitting down with the midwives and going through the process and the signs that come up and doing some more research, we felt at the end, I felt a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. And I think like I knew that I was going to pursue that, but I wanted you to be on board too, because I felt like it was a decision that we should make together. But in my heart, that's what I really wanted. So I started taking different courses and doing a bunch of research. I actually did a hypnobirthing course through the Positive Birth Company. And I also read Ina May's book, and Ina May's book changed my life drastically, because if you haven't read it, read it. I'll link it here, but it is the most amazing insight into how our bodies are made. I fully believe that our bodies were made to create children, to give birth, and so it is a natural thing, and it should be treated like a natural thing. And so the reason I'm telling you this is because what happened the day before I gave birth was wild. So in Ina May's book, just a quick little snippet of one of the chapters, it talks about how like the biology behind our bodies, and in the wild, how animals give birth. If there's an animal giving birth in the wild and they have a predator come, so they're worried that their child and that they won't be safe and their child won't be safe, then their birth stops. it doesn't progress anymore. They wait until they're in a comfortable and safe place, and then they give birth. Because if they gave birth there, then neither of them would survive. So our bodies are kind of like that too. And she gave a few different case studies where there was either someone in the room that she didn't feel comfortable with, the woman giving birth, and so her birth stopped progressing until that person had left. There's a few really cool stories in there. And I was just so intrigued by that. I thought that's so cool. Like, our bodies really, truly know what they're doing, and we just have to trust in our bodies in that process. So, do you want to talk about what happened the night before?
Yeah.
So, I was 39 weeks, 5 days. 39 weeks, 6 days.
6 days.
Okay.
6.
5.
5.
Yeah. Anyway, close to my DB.
Boys' favorite food, chicken fingers, chicken nuggets, all that kind of stuff. So we had lunch. It was lunch. Yeah, I think it was lunch for the boys. And I was in the kitchen with them, and fortunately I was there. Oscar choked on a piece of chicken.
My biggest fear in the entire world.
Super scary. We were able to get it out. At least we thought we got it out, which we did.
You gave him a few blows on the back and it like popped out.
But he was still wheezing and coughing and visibly uncomfortable.
And he was coughing blood, remember?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit. So we were, I can't remember if we called anybody or not, but we decided to go to the Emerge. So we took him, Oscar, to Guelph Emerge, where you were there first for quite a while. And again, mid-COVID, everyone's sick. It was not a fun place to have.
So scary.
Not a fun place to have a 1.5-year-old.
And we had both twins with us because we didn't have anyone to care for the other.
Yeah.
That was so scary.
Yeah.
So then we're there at Emerge, and we finally were seen. We actually called our nanny, and our nanny and my mom kind of took turns watching Axel so we could bring Axel home, because we were transferred to the Children's Hospital, McMaster, so outside of Guelph, because he needed to possibly have a surgery, like a scope done to make sure that the chicken finger wasn't in his lung or hadn't perforated his lung or anything like that, because they want to make sure of infection, that there's no infection. So anyways, on our way home from Guelph, we dropped Axel off to, I think, my mom. And then our nanny, Michaela, came to watch him overnight and to sleep over here because we knew we were going to be there for quite a while. So we got to McMaster. So stressful. You never want your kid to go through a surgery. We were just freaking out. I was, internally. And McMaster was like at a maximum capacity. They were turning people away at the door. So we waited for quite a long time. And I started having contractions. And I'm like freaking out. I'm messaging a friend who's also a nurse, saying like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to put this into existence. I don't want it to be true because I don't want to give birth here. Well, my partner can't even be with me because I'm not going to leave Oscar by himself. It just was like bad case scenario. And I remember I asked the lady at the front, like at triage, like, hey, we just came from Guelph. I know they've been in contact with the surgeon here. Do you know how long you think it'll be? Because I'm almost 40 weeks pregnant and I'm really feeling like I'm having strong contractions. And she just looks at me dead in the face and was like, labor and delivery's on 4th floor. And I was like, okay, perfect. So I just like tried not to think about it. I was freaking out. And then my contractions just stopped. Like, I really think what happened in Ina May's book and what she says can happen, like, happened to me. Because I felt like I was for sure in labor. And then it just kind of trailed off. So then Oscar went in for surgery. It was scary. It was terrifying. We brought him home. We didn't feel comfortable with him sleeping by himself. So we actually put a pack and play in our room and had him sleep with us. And then...
that was about 4 a.m.?
Yeah. So we had been up all night. And when you're pregnant, you're so tired too. When you're watching kids, you're so tired. So we got a couple hours of sleep. And then I just felt like... I think they had told us, like, the baby has to go to the washroom or the child has to go to the washroom, and then like you'll know that things are kind of working and everything's good because he had been under a general anesthetic. So we got home, we all woke up, Michaela was here, the twins were running around, and then I was in the living room with them. Mike and Michaela were in the kitchen, and and Oscar pooped. So I'm changing his poop, and I just feel a sense of relief. Like, I'm like, we're comfortable, we're at home, everybody's healthy, everybody is safe. And as I'm like going to wipe his bum, my water breaks.
On the couch.
On the couch. And I had never experienced that. My waters didn't break with the twins. So I was like, oh no, what just happened? And I'm like, Mike, can you come here? And we have this like running joke of like, we always fight over who's going to change the diaper and see if we can get the other person to change it. And he's like, no, I'm not changing it. I'm like, no, I really think that my water just broke. And I stand up and it just gushes out all over the floor all the way to the bathroom. That was crazy.
It's quite the morning.
Yeah. So then we called a midwife. We also had hired a doula, which I would highly, highly, highly recommend. We had Laura from Dynamic Doulas, and she was amazing. But then it was kind of the waiting game. I think everyone told us that it would progress fast because it was our third baby, second birth. But we just kind of waited. Like, my water broke, but I wasn't having crazy contractions or anything.
You weren't crazy dilated or anything
No.
like that?
So the midwife came. I was GBS positive, so I needed an IV. So we actually were just in bed here trying to sleep.
Sleep some more.
Yeah, we tried to nap while the twins napped so that we could get a little bit of rest. And then I called the doula, called our, we had a birth photographer that came, so I called her to let her know that I was in labor. And we actually had a different midwife. We didn't have our regular midwife because she had just been on like a 24-hour birth, so she was sleeping too. So we were resting, hanging out, and just realizing like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. So then, yeah, it was quite a long time. It was the whole day. We just kind of hung out. We played outside with the kids for a little bit. And then the doula arrived and we started to do things to try to progress the labor. So we played with the kids. Then actually our nanny took the kids to her house to play for the afternoon so that we could kind of focus, which was really nice. We got some loving time in with them, and then we got to kind of really focus on the birth. And I pumped, we played sequence, like just played some games to pass the time. We watched our wedding video to get the endorphins going and see if we could get anything to progress. I was pumping quite a bit. We had the TENS machine going once my contractions started getting a little more.
Yeah, we were watching your trash TV.
Yeah, watch some reality TV. Who doesn't want to watch Real Housewives while you're in labor? Yeah. Then what happened?
Well, things started to progress, and we got the birthing pool set up. Mm-hmm. So that was probably mid-afternoon-ish, early evening that we got that set up.
I did my hair, kind of hung out upstairs. I had to wax my mustache and pluck my eyebrows, so I did that. Just got everything ready. I really wanted to have like a nice environment. So I think you cleaned up the living room quite a lot, where like the tub was going to be moved, like any bright toys out of the way, set up some twinkle lights. I had written out all my birth affirmations, so those were all hung up. Yep. I think the doula did that after we took a little nap.
Yep.
I ate.
What do we have for dinner?
I wasn't very hungry. I think I just had toast.
Yeah.
Because they were like, you have to eat because you're going to need energy, but I just, like wasn't feeling like I could eat. But I think that was also why it was so good to have a doula, because I probably wouldn't have eaten anything or had any sleep, but I needed to have that energy for sure. So then things started progressing. I was doing like inversions and other things like that, but I wasn't fully dilated yet, but my contractions were getting more strong. So then once I couldn't really talk through them very much, then I think that's when I got in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was pretty late too. Like you were.
It was like 10 p.m. No, like 8.
8 p.m. when we started in the pool, and by the time we got it filled up, because our hot water tank ran out of heat, and then we had to boil water.
Get some extra kettles.
So that was probably 8 that you went into the pool-ish.
Yeah, and the doula had kind of said, like, okay, if it's getting really, painful and you're feeling a lot of pain, then maybe it's time to get in the pool. So I thought, okay, great, because it was really feeling like I needed to push. Like, at this point in time, the contractions were really feeling like there was a lot more pressure. And I started, like, kind of pushing through some of the contractions after about half an hour in the water.
And I think our doula came back at that point. So
Our midwife.
Midwife.
Yeah.
Our normal midwife was back when you got into the pool.
So I could see the familiar face, and I was so happy because she changed my whole experience. She was amazing. And then I think I had been pushing a little bit, and then my midwife, Dinika, had said to me, Ariana, I have to tell you this, like, you are not fully dilated. And so no matter how much you push, if you're not fully dilated, the baby can't come out. So you have two options. Either we have to move it ourselves, like manually. She's like, I can do that, but it's going to be painful. Or you have to breathe through the next contraction. You can't push. And that will kind of like help it open up. I was like, okay, I'm going to try. Like, I'm going to try my best to just like breathe through it. Because I didn't know which option was better. I'm like, you're lost. Like, you're in a different world, I feel. And so I tried to breathe through it, and my body just pushed. Like, you're almost not in control of your body. You have to really work together with it in that moment. And I remember being like, I'm sorry. Like, my body's pushing. Because I couldn't stop it. And she was so amazing. She knew that I couldn't, and she just moved it. And she's like, okay, it's done. Like, you're fully dilated now. Like, now you can push. And I remember feeling more relieved then because I knew I was in the thick of it, but that the baby was coming.
Yep.
That's it.
Ow. But that was painful for sure. So then we started really pushing, and then it wasn't much longer until she came.
11 minutes.
Yeah, so from being fully dilated.
11 minutes of active labor.
So it was like a long day of being in labor, but like kind of pre-labor, I guess. But active labor when I was fully dilated was short and fast. So, then we could push through them. I think the thing that was like the most helpful for me was having you by me and like telling me all, like reading my birth affirmations to me, reminding me that like my body was made for this. I can do it. Because you're almost like panicked a little bit if you're not like being very mindful, which I was trying my best to do, but in the moment it's so hard.
Yeah.
And I remember I had been like on all fours, like in the tub, and I switched to be on my back because I just felt like that was so much more comfortable to me. I needed to like hold on to something. And part of my birth plan was to have Mike catch the baby. Like, I wanted him to deliver the baby. But I remember, like, just a few minutes before I gave birth, the midwife had said that to you because she knew that I wanted that. And you were like, no, I just need to be right here. And I'm so grateful that you were because I needed you beside me.
Yeah.
That was...
Lots of hair.
There's more hair than the boys.
Good. I wouldn't normally say go against what I want. But in that moment, that was
I was right, is what you said.
Yeah, you were.
Okay.
So then it was towards the end and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I have a video of me being like, it's not opening. And I was like talking about my vagina. Like, obviously my body's going to make it work, but I just felt like it wasn't happening. And it was like, it was painful. It was hard. And I needed to push and you're exhausted and,
There you go. It's not open. You're amazing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But yeah, after those last few pushes, when she came out, it was like the most magical thing in the entire world. Like the best feeling ever. And so something really funny that happened. So first when she came out, like I went to pick her up to grab her and my midwife was amazing. She's like, just wait a second. Cause she did have the cord wrapped twice around her neck, which now that I learn more about it is actually normal. Like not normal, but like happens more often than you would think. But the baby's getting all of their oxygen from the umbilical cord. So if they're under the water, they're not breathing yet. But once they've come up, then they are. Yeah. So you have to keep the baby under the water to unwrap it first. So she did amazing. It was so swift. Like you never would have realized if she didn't tell us. And then I was holding the baby and I was just like, it's this like overwhelming feeling of like relief, amazement, happiness. Like you're so emotional.
That's it. Here you go. Reach down and get your baby. Wait.
And the doula said, oh, that's a chunky baby. And I thought she said trunk. And immediately in my head, I was like, oh, it's a boy. the way your brain works when you're in that is just so funny.
That is a chunky babe right there. What?
We don't know. It's a bad chunky.
They're like, no, we don't know. So then we held her out and looked, and you told me it's a girl. And I didn't know how badly I wanted that, or even if I'm not sure. I just always thought that it was I had in my mind it was a boy. I don't know. We never found out.
We both thought it was going to be a boy.
Yeah, I don't know why we felt like that, but we just had this idea, I guess. And yeah, it was amazing. It was so beautiful. And
It's a little girl.
You can help rub her. You can help rub her, Anna.
so we spent some time with her on my chest. We spent some time looking at her. I just wanted to see who she was. And
You sound like your brother. Look at the doubles.
You sound just like Axel. Okay, I'll keep you wearing my promise.
and then we decided that we would birth the placenta on the couch out of the water instead of in the pool. So we got out. I got to hold her on my chest attached to the umbilical cord for a long time. Like we did delayed cord clamping for quite a while because we weren't able to do that with the boys. I birthed the placenta and still hadn't cut the cord. And then you cut the cord. Is that weird?
Nope. I didn't think so.
Yeah, I feel like it's cool.
It was harder than I expected to cut it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it'd be like cutting like a ribbon or something, but it's like cutting a big chunky rope.
Weird. And then she came out rooting. Like she was like right away. So I was like, can I feed her? And they're like, yeah. So I think even before we even cut the cord, she was like
I think we
trying
cut
to
it,
feed.
yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
So yeah, then fed, let her kind of just rest, kept her nice and warm.
Yeah.
And my sister was here, so my sister came down to meet her too. But it was so beautiful just getting time with her right away, like no one having to take her from us.
It was just comfy.
Yeah.
Very comfy.
It was so, so magical. And in comparison to our experience with the boys, I think it made it even more special that we could really just spend time with her. We could make all the decisions of how we wanted it to be. And it was like perfect.
It was awesome.
It was so, and I felt like a fucking superhero. I literally felt like I could do anything in the world.
Well, especially once we
After.
found out how big she was.
Yeah, so I forgot. So she always measured big, but all of our babies did. So I never really thought anything of it. And that morning, like the third baby problems, I didn't have any newborn diapers. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the things that we needed. So I actually sent Michaela out to get some diapers. She's like, I'll go pick them up. So she bought newborn diapers, brought them home. And then when the midwife was like cleaning her off and weighing her and everything, she was like, Ariana, I'm so sorry, but like I opened this whole box of newborn diapers and they don't fit. I was like, what? So she didn't fit newborn diapers. They weighed her and she was 11 pounds.
Junky.
11 pounds. She was like so big. It was wild, but she was so beautiful and so sweet. And yeah, it was perfect. But 11 pounds was wild. So then the boys got to meet her the next morning. Do you see that?
Good job, Oscar.
Yeah, Dada. Axel. Where's Callie? Where's Callie?
Yeah, that's Callie.
Do you want to give her a hug? Oh, was that her?
But it was really special because we gave birth at like 10:30 p.m. I think 10:37 or something. And then we were able to bring her right upstairs. Like the midwives came and tucked us into bed and then they just let themselves out. And we just got to spend time together. I remember I looked over and she was just in between us and you're like, we're in bed with our baby.
Pretty special. Compared to last time with the twins where it's like we had to go down the hall to the NICU. It was just a whole different experience.
Yeah, we couldn't hold them. Like it was just so intimate, so beautiful. And we had all of the say. Like, we could do whatever we felt comfortable. And I think because I believe that birth is such a natural thing, that's how it should be. Like, you should go with your instincts and go with how you feel. And I think that was just like the most beautiful thing, for sure.
You know, a Callie girl.
Yeah. So now we're a complete family of 3.
5.
Yeah, 3 kids, 5 of us, I guess. But just so special, and we're just so grateful. Would you do a home birth again? Not that we're having more kids.
We're not having more kids. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. I was not worried. The midwives were amazing. The doula was amazing. Way more comfortable, easygoing, and just being able to crawl into bed at the end of the night was amazing.
Yeah. It was awesome. And the other thing too that I didn't mention, but I did have 1 stitch after. With the twins, I had an episiotomy. With this, I didn't need anything. We did a lot of perineal massage before, which I read could help. But I had like more, I guess, of those like little paper cut tears that you don't really stitch. But the midwife had said like we could do a stitch, or we don't have to, but it might just help you heal faster if we just put 1 in. So she did. But the cool thing is they can just do that at home. Like, I was just laying on the couch looking at Callie, like my endorphins are flowing. So it wasn't like that much pain because you're really focused on the new life that you just brought into the world. So, and they can do it right at your home. What I didn't know too is that during a home birth, the midwives bring everything that a level 1 hospital would have to your home. So they had that all set up like in our dining room in the case that anything bad were to happen. But I felt that made me feel really safe, even seeing them set it all up.
Yeah.
But it was so comfortable. It was so beautiful and so wonderful. And it was nice to just be us.
Yeah. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Just,
and then family could come when they wanted. And yeah, just so special. And special for the boys to meet her at home, like in our bed the next morning.
Yep. Just like that.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. That's our birth story. I didn't know in what way to share it, but I think this way, just talking it out, is special for us, nice for us, healing for us, even in terms of like thinking back to it and from our experience with the twins. And
yeah,
we just feel so lucky and so blessed. So thanks for listening.